Hi, it's Professor Davis. I just wanted to give you a few tips here on how you get yourself ready to take your first test. The kind of techniques we'll talk about here you can use for the remaining tests as well. So the first thing I wrote down here is check out the study guide. That's the very first thing we ought to do. So if we were at the class website and you click on the course information area, you'll see the test 1 preparation folder, and that has everything you need. It has the study guide, the sample test, the formulas and table sheet. Sometimes I'll include a video here. Let's take a look at the study guide first. All of the topics that will be on your test are on this sheet. So everything should ring a bell here when we look down the test topics. And so you want to be able to do all of this stuff. And over here in the third column, I put the corresponding homework to practice exercises. Those are the weekly exercises that I put on the announcements page, and those correspond to each of the sections and the test topics. And so what you want to do is to review those. If you have all that homework done, it's just a matter of doing a brief review to remind yourself what the nuances and topics are of everything. And that is your primary way to prepare for the test, is to review those completed homework to practice exercises. And if you want a little bit more work on those, I have some additional uh, review exercises from the end of the chapter. So you can take a look at those as well. Those might serve as a good refresher. So that's the first thing we want to do. That's the first thing we want to do when we prepare for our test, is to look at the study guide and correlate your corresponding homework to practice exercises with each of the test topics. That's our first step. And like I said, we want to do that and then do the sample review exercises from the study guide. That's just extra practice. And then the fourth thing, print out the formulas and table sheet and get familiar with its content. Uh, I noted there that that is in the test prep folder. Also in outside of that, in the course information area. Let's take a look at that real quick. For your first test, these are the only formulas that we have on that formulas and table sheet. Formula for the mean and the mean of a frequency table, that'll come in handy. Now, a common question I get is, well, do you have to use this formula to compute the standard deviation? The answer is no. You simply have to be able to compute the standard deviation on your calculator. So you want to make sure you look over that StatCast on computing summary statistics with your graphing calculator so you know how to do that. Don't bother using these formulas. It's way too much, way too cumbersome to do by hand. So make sure you can compute the standard deviation using your graphing calculator. All right. So you have this attached to your test. This formulas and table sheet gets more useful as we go on through the course. So then the final thing, the last thing we want to do, not the first thing, but the last thing, is to try the sample test. All right. Now, before I take a look at it, just let me give you an idea of what you want to try to do. Do all your review, those first 4 steps I'm talking about. Print out that formulas and table sheet, then just sit down, print out the sample test, and take it just like you're taking the test for real. Don't look at the questions and look back at the ebook. That's not going to do you any good. You want to prepare yourself and then go ahead and take the sample test. All right? Now let's take a look at that for a minute. I guess the common question you might have is, well, so if I can do this sample test, will I be okay? Well, we can't cover every single possibility on the sample test. So this just gives us an idea of what the questions would look like. All right. So you don't have any surprises when you go in. All of the test topics are on the study guide. That should be what we work from. All right. So make sure you try the sample test without reviewing back in the book as you go along. because memorizing the sample test, that only gets you so far. We have to be able to know all the different types of situations that can be asked. All right? So, study guide is your key. Make sure you go over your completed homework to practice exercises. Remember, I said the very first day of class, that is the critical component to success in this course. Do those homework to practice exercises. Then it's just a matter of a quick review and you'll be all set. So, just wanted to give you a few tips on getting ready for your first test.